Alright, so today I'm going to show you some of the differences between iOS and Android devices. There are two pretty big main differences. One, iOS is created by Apple and only used on Apple devices, and then Android, which is created by Google and it's used on many different types of phones and devices. There's also a lot of other differences, such as the fact that Apple is very strict on customization, and Google, you can customize it to whatever. Basically, if you have the technology to do that, then you can go into Google's interfaces and change basically anything you want on the device. Another thing is that since that is possible, since iOS is so strict on their criteria like that, the apps that are produced on the App Store are not as customizable. You can't customize the phone as much as you could an Android phone. So lots of people tend to want to go towards the Android just because they like their freedom with their device. In iOS, though you don't have as much freedom, you can't just create whatever you want, basically. Another thing is that the apps are, since the App Store on the iOS marketplace is way more stricter than the one on Google, the apps that are going to be uploaded to it are most likely going to be a lot better or run smoother than they would on an Android device. And going forwards about that, even though since it runs a lot better on iOS, most of the apps that get put onto iOS are gonna run a lot better, and there's gonna be a lot more of them because the people that are developing apps basically want to be on iOS first. So most of them are released onto the Apple servers before they are Android, and some apps don't even get to go to the Android marketplace. They're only on iOS. Another thing that the main difference is basically iOS is quick, simple, it's easy to use, and then the fact that the apps are made on the iOS, or just for iOS, that makes them a lot more easier to use and more secure versus Android, being since the marketplace is not as strict, the apps might not work as well, they might not be as secure, so that tends to be a big factor. Overall, though, it's just personal preference.